that shit would probably feel so nice. When you're listening, your skin's glistening. It's like, yo, all these dope streamers gonna fucking get it in. Like, yo.
Go! But Muhammad did smoke Marlboros, so he was the one who didn't. He kind of went his own way. He did his own thing. You know what I'm saying? And love him or hate him, you gotta respect him for fucking smoking a nice Marlboro Red. You know? Fucking, I remember, I think it's in one of the surahs where somebody offers him a fucking menthol Camel Crush, and he cursed them and said, no, dog, what the fuck is that pussy shit? I'm not smoking that. Dog, I'm smoking some fucking Marlboro Reds right now. What the fuck, you think I want menthol? Get out of here. And that really, you know, helped me. Do the backs of your kneecaps get moist? Oh, God damn it, what the fuck are you? I'm so happy that, like, my fucking headphone died at that fucking moment so that I don't have to, like, fucking hear myself repeat the words I just said. Oh, dear Lord, have fucking mercy. You know, I try to put on a good show for you guys. Like, the thing that really fucking, like, made my mind go,
Hold up.
Yeah. Welcome.
Swirl.
God damn, baby. It's fucking. Y'all fucking want the dabs? You get the whole experience, baby. You get the whole experience. You're fucking sitting here and you're riding out the goddamn coughs with me. Okay? I'm not gonna fucking pause it. I'm not gonna mute it. You're getting the fucking coughs. You're getting the fucking coughs. You want the dabs, you get the cough. Okay? Fuck around, you find out, you know? It's the duality of nature. Okay? I'm not here to hide it. You signed up for it. Fucking. There was a warning. There's warnings before you enter this shit everywhere. On the 1st through 6th day, I saw the communism and I saw that it was good. Ah. So I guess we should get into the content. I guess.
Indeed, yes. So it sounded like you were going to modify it somewhat from what we were talking about last time or whatever. Maybe let's just start with the recap of what we talked about last time or where, I don't know. What do you think? I'll let you.
Yeah.
I'll let you.
Yeah, well, like, I kind of forgot about the whole, serpent thing, and frankly, I've thought we got through it, but I totally misremembered, and we didn't get through it at all. We didn't even talk about it at all.
No.
But fucking, last time we talked, we kind of just talked about, what we did talk about is how the Bible is kind of constructed and those types of things a little bit. But I guess, honestly, we should just kind of rephrase and restate kind of some of the main things that I wanted to kind of get across, and then maybe we'll just get into it from there. And we talked about Genesis 1, and I'll kind of just do that as a quick overview of that.
Yeah, that was a good start.
Last time.
I'll try not to interrupt you.
Oh yeah, no, please. If you have questions and shit. No, if you have questions and shit, please do.
Just for the recap part.
Word. Alright, so fucking the one thing that I want to make sure that people understand is that the Bible is not a book. This is not a book. It is a library of books. It is a book of books. Many different books with many different writers from all around the world with differing views and differing perspectives saying very different things. These are not all fucking saying the same thing.
The Bible.
They weren't necessarily meant to go together. Some were, some weren't. Some were fucking taken, adapted, and edited and changed. In the Old Testament, fucking, it's essentially broken up into like 3 main fucking portions. The portion that we're talking about today is called the Torah, often mistranslated to the law. It essentially just means the teachings. And that's the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. It is very important that it is like one of the most important
it is the most important section of like the Bible for many. It is essentially. Oh, your shit disappeared on my side. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Fucking, it's where you're gonna find a lot of really important things, such as like the teachings, law, fucking most of the stories that you fucking heard of and love are right there. It is most commonly said that it was written by Moses. It was not written by Moses. It was
Really? Is that what they say?
Yeah, the Torah was written by Moses.
The whole ass fucking thing.
Even the part about him dying and calling himself the most humble man alive. So, yeah. It is commonly taught that fucking Moses wrote the Torah, which is not true. There are fucking differing perspectives on who wrote it and how it was written. We're not going to get into too much detail, so those of you like Bible scholars in chat, don't get too fucking mad at me for glossing over this too quickly here. But essentially, the documentary hypothesis, meaning that there were a few different writers, JEPD, we don't really. There's lots of questions about that. And there are writings, different writings, and they were adapted, changed, and like morphed into each other, and added in. And you'll see that, and you'll notice that throughout the fucking Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, except Deuteronomy is just written by the Deuteronomists. We're not talking about that. And you'll see that a lot of these stories have 2 stories, parallel stories that are similar but different. You'll see it in the creation story. You'll see it with Noah.
That's what we touched on last time. Like, that's what we kind of talked about, yeah.
Absolutely. And I'll kind of do a quick overview of the first story because we didn't get to the second story. But the main things that I wanted to get across with those stories. You'll see, duplicates of the creation story. You'll see duplicates of Noah's Ark. You'll see duplicates of Joseph. Interlaced with Noah and Joseph, but separated with Genesis 1 and 2, which is really interesting. That's why I think it's a great place to start. And so that's what we were talking about. So there are 2 stories here. Questions before I hop into
Deuteronomy?
We talked about that last time.
There's a Deuteronomy. Question mark. Yes. Spooky. What up? New year, new me.
Oh,
I'm cleaning and organizing today. Let's go.
Fuck yeah.
I had something to say, and I forgot it, so I didn't. Oh, happy birthday to Ferret King, by the way.
Oh, happy birthday, Ferret King. Fuck yeah, let's go. Shout out Ferret King.
Fuck yeah.
Good shit. Hope you're doing well. Good shit. But another notable thing that we talked about last stream here, if you can, I'm going to show it here. The Bible difference here. Genesis 1 from New Revised Standard Version versus the King James Version. The very first words with in the beginning God created versus the when God began to create. We talked about that and the differences that makes. With the better translation, the when God began to create the heavens and the earth was complete chaos and darkness covered the face of the deep. Essentially stating that fucking when God began creating the heavens and the earth itself was there and it was complete chaos. And we talked about the implications that God didn't actually create the earth or the waters. What he did, and this is the important thing, and this is a picture that I want to show you here.
Wait, go back to that. Let's
yeah.
What is it again? Just run us through that real quick.
Sorry. So fucking, we talked about this a bit last time. So I was just trying to rip through it. So I apologize. I can go over it in more detail. So fucking in the beginning. So here in the King James Version, why I don't like this translation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Period.
Okay.
And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. Fucking, and the Spirit of God moved over the face of the waters. Versus when God began to create the heavens and the earth, so he's stepping up here to create, the earth was complete chaos and darkness covered the face of the deep, while the wind of God swept over the face of the waters. It is setting it up as opposed to God creates the heavens and the earth. Then he comes in and the earth is without form and chaos, and then he makes it.
Yeah.
Which is a very different framing than what it is the more proper, better translated framing of God stepping up to the plate to create. He's essentially like, all right, let's fucking go here, all right? So it's telling the story of God, like, getting ready, you know? When God began to create the heavens and the earth was there, and it was chaos, and the darkness covered the face of the deep, and the wind of God moved over the face of the waters. The earth and the waters are there, and he's stepping up, and you can just picture him being like, all right, time to go, and his spirit, his breath comes over the face of the waters to start separating and then creating from there. And that's what we see in the next.
So the fundamental, to put this in simple terms, the fundamental difference is like the earth the earth was already there, God is creating it, or God created it all. I guess I remember understanding it very deeply last time, and now I'm like, what?
So fucking, it's essentially like a difference between fucking creation from nothing versus
building onto
something. Going into an existent space.
Yes.
And then creating from the materials. Yep. You know what I mean? It's the difference between being like, poof, materials, to like, ooh, look at all the materials and all the things I can do with it.
Right, which could lend itself towards like a lot of different theories about like the existence of humanity or life in general, or like that, or like, you know, even Big Bang or whatever the fuck, like that could happen. And then what is God at that point? God could be like a extraterrestrial. Who knows? Like there's a lot of things you could apply to the material already existing versus like God created everything from the beginning, nothing else. Because that's the more like fundamentalist like style way of talking about it. And it's more controlling because it limits you to like, you can't branch out from here. Because if you're able to branch out to those other theories, I would say in any slight fashion, this is just my view on that, then like it potentially creates a power outside of God. And like, you don't want that, right?
Absolutely.
Something that pre-exists or whatever.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. And that's kind of the issue here is Christians can and still will and do make the argument that fucking God is created time, space, and matter, therefore he is beyond time, space, and matter.
Right.
Well, the Bible doesn't show that in the creation story. Like, it is essentially showing he's coming into time, space, and matter and creating from it. And that's a different.
And he's filling it up.
You know, it's absolutely. And you'll notice throughout the Torah, fucking the first 5 books of the Bible, especially like in a lot of these stories, God is more anthropomorphic. He walks, he talks, he hears, he feels. His heart hurts.
Yeah.
And an amazing book. I've pimped this book so hard, and I'm sorry if that's an improper fucking term for this, but fucking the book is called God and Anatomy by Francesca Stavrakopoulou. Please read it. And I'll make like various allusions to it and not get into detail on it. But like it's about God's physical body and the transformation of the God fucking El into Yahweh. Fucking amazing. It talks about God's wife, fucking Asherah, fucking his body. There's a whole chapter on his penis. It is amazing. And
God
is
penis?
the rainbow? Yes. Is the rainbow God's cock? The answer is yes. And Talorx, how can you say that? Please read the book.
He's got a big, hard, long cock.
Please read the book.
Yo,
and it's like
he's got a big, hard, long cock?
The biggest, longest, hardest cock.
Bro, what the fuck?
Dude.
Damn.
Yeah. I have a
Christians take the good shit out of their own religion. Why?
They do. They
just hate good things. Like, what are they doing? We know.
This shit.
It's not even Christians. It's just people who are controlling shit. You can't have the big, hard, long cock. You can't have that.
This book right here.
God and Anatomy is what it is?
God and Anatomy by Francesca Stavrakopoulou. It looks like this, and it is amazing. I have 2 cameras. I'm showing it to LEVLHEADs and my chat. I've fucking hyped this book up many times, but I think it's fucking wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you for lurking.
Fucking, it is so great, dude. Fucking, this shit is fucking amazing.
Time Machine, H.G. Wells, removing the socialist message and inserting a love story between an infantile race of humans and a modern human. It's fucked. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, that seems like that's definitely part of the theme of what we're talking about, Maggie, is like the way that translating something from translation to translation, book to book, culture to culture, whatever. It's not just translations though, because that anatomy thing that you're mentioning, like, is that citing, like historical biblical references or?
Oh, this book, God in an Anatomy, is an amazing book, and it references like the ancient Near East and that whole region and the myths and the stories around there. It shows their artwork, and it goes. So how it works is, welcome, great to see you, Allie. It goes from the feet up. It goes from the feet up his body. It talks about like walking in the feet of God and like the foot and the sandals and the all those things. Like it talks about all that, and then it goes up and like there's a whole chapter on his penis. It's fucking amazing, and like there's a bunch of pictures in the middle of like these things. It is the perfect penis is the name of this fucking chapter, and it has references and shit to like our modern times with like penis warfare and shit like that. Like it is fucking amazing. Like I can pull up references. Like I have it in PDF form as well. And like I can word search a couple things and find some really good shit. But
well, let's save the God penis.
Yeah, we'll save that for later. Yeah, that's another time. But
okay. So, anyways, sorry, I derailed you completely. How do we pick back up from there to get back on track? We were talking about the distinctions between those two simple translation differences and the implications that has on like the entire religion or the entire
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like we don't even need to go deep into translation and King James Version versus other translations and why King James Version existed in the first place and all that. We don't need to go into that right now, but please understand that there's going to be bias and there's going to be differences in reading just inherently, even in the translation.
Even if you're reading the same one.
Absolutely. Even if you're reading the same one, even if you're reading the same language. And that's something that Christianity doesn't understand as well as like Judaism seems to understand, is that like open debate and discussion around understanding of like like the meaning of like the scriptures and shit fucking is like the point in a lot of the things. You know what I mean? It seems to be a lot more, whatever, but fucking that's a wide sweeping statement and didn't mean to be as wide, but generally just overall
widen it as wide as you can go.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
But there's a deeper tradition of good open debate and discussion amongst like rabbis and stuff with like the Talmud than like the heresy and murder trials of the early Christian church. So that's what I'm mainly talking about.
Which
to be
is a
clear.
future episode. Oh, that's what you're talking about now?
Oh no.
Okay. That sounds like a future discussion thing, though.
Ooh, there's so many future
God's
discussions.
Penis and the heresy trials of the early Christian church.
Yeah, there we go. Fucking yo. I should do a fucking whole like YouTube video like
you should do a
going over like the fucking like the whole cock chapter of this like in a way that's like understandable, and then message Francesca Stavrock
without any
see if she's down to join the video
as academically as possible. Like the cock chapter, very
very academic, and then I'll slide down a giant cock at the end and off. It'll be really cool. What we find is when we take a deeper look into the phallic objects of the ancient deity El, we find that his erotic and erect penis is a sign of strength.
Amen.
Whoop! Cock slide.
Okay.
Goddamn. All right, but what we were showing was that Genesis 1 is the first story. So if you asked... So let me ask you before we get into this, like, what is your understanding of the creation story? Like, I know we already talked about the first bit of this here and like what we've already talked about, but what is your understanding of the creation story?
So yeah, God just like exists, I guess. This is the part that They won't. They just if you're a kid asking a normal question about it, they'd be like, they'd redirect you somehow. I don't know, or admit that they don't know, maybe, but be like, but trust me, it's fine. It doesn't matter. That extremely important question. God just exists, and then like he transcends time and space and everything. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, blah blah blah. So then he creates everything. You know, he creates the first fucking let there be light, and then he makes what I don't remember the order or care, but eventually he gets to, you know, humans. He makes the animals first, I think, right? And then he makes the last thing that he makes it. Well, maybe not. It doesn't matter. Like I said,
I'm gonna make a poll in chat for 1 minute and say what's first, animals or humans?
Yeah, I'm gonna make it too. Poll.
Yeah, animals or humans? No cheating. Just based on what you know. Like, there's no right answers here. We're just fucking. I'm putting it for 2 minutes.
Yeah, we just want to. It's a scientific poll, okay? It's not a test of your like skill or knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge.
I canceled it, motherfucker. instead of clicking start poll, I clicked cancel.
Make your voices heard. In the creation story, what comes first, animals or humans? Democracy in the stream place. You can do it.
You can do it.
And
there you go.
Make your voices heard, chat. I believe in you. I believe in all of you. And
towards night, that chapter of the Bible was fucking eliminated by the anti-cookie sect.
Cookies came first.
Dangerous. The cookies were the first thing. They preceded God, actually.
That is true.
Yes, it was.
And actually, they do make a slight reference to them. They didn't fully strip it. The warriors of renown spoken about with like the Nephilim. One of the main causes of the flood were actually the cookies.
Oh,
they were the cookie warriors.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
If we let me pop up.
Like it was their desire for cookies, which had exceeded their like moral, you know, like what God had told them.
Yeah, so like Genesis 6 here,
and they were killing each other.
Let me pop this up here. So, Genesis 6:4. The Nephilim were on the earth those days, and also afterward. The sons of God went into the daughters of humans, who bore children for them. They were the heroes.
It says went into the daughters of humans.
Yeah, they fucked them.
Okay.
Yes. In a biblical sense, they went into they fucked them. Yeah. Right. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of renown. These are the cookie warriors. And they tried to strip it.
Right.
But we do see fragments of them referenced. So
leaving fragments all over the place at this rate. So do the demons do cookie shit? Are there cookie demons?
Yes.
Okay. Of course. Yes. All right, but that's unimportant for now.
Yes. So my chat poll has ended.
They said I got 2 votes for humans.
2 votes for humans. I got 3 votes for animals, 1 vote for human.
Wow.
So you got 2 for humans. I got 1 for humans. That's 3 total for humans and 3 for animals. It's 50-50. So far, based on our sample size of 6, it is 50-50.
50-50.
And I think that is a great answer. And I think that goes to show that sampling the crowds gets the right answer. Because that is the right answer.
The right right. Chat was right. It's different in different translations. Is what we're getting at.
Well, it's different, not just in different translations, but in the different stories. Because there's 2 stories. In Genesis 1, animals come first. And those who said animals are correct. In Genesis 2, Adam comes first, and then animals are made for his pleasure, like to be like his helpmate, then Eve comes after the animals.
Mm-hmm.
So the answer is both.
Oh, interesting. Weird.
As with most fucking Bible questions, if it's did one thing or the other happen? Is one thing good or is the other thing good? The answer is both.
What was Adam doing with those animals until Eve got there?
He was fucking them.
Yeah, he came first. Adam is
he
selfish.
did come first. Absolutely, dude. Adam is selfish. And maybe we'll get into that fucking when we get into the fucking when we get into that story, which is we will get there. We will get there. Welcome, devil. I'm not opening that goddamn link. I'm not opening the goddamn link. I'm not doing it. I'm
Never
not
trust
doing
devil.
it. Never. I know what it is.
You know, you like devil, and eventually you let your guard down. You're like, hey, it's devil. What up? Click link, and it's just you know, you get wrecked every time.
Yeah, devil's the reason I have trust issues, and fucking devil knows it, and they use it to their advantage.
Their name is devil, so
absolutely, fucking goddamn. But yeah, so
we learned interesting lore earlier, which is that Hildebeest's name came from devil.
Really?
Did you know that?
Like devil EMS?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because when Hildy started on Twitch, she used her real name for a while, apparently, as her green name. Yeah, and was modding in big debate brush streams. But yeah, on that note, quickly, I need to send you this video. Hildy made a Satan cake with it's like a goat head, and it's fucking incredible. Like, it's literally, I can't even overhype it because it's that good. It's insanely good. Like, it's worth watching, like, on stream. I swear to God. So yeah. Anyways, sorry not to use the Lord's name in vain or anything.
I am offended, but I'll let it slide. You're the one going to hell, not me.
Thank you. True. I accept.
I'm not reading those words out loud, Sarah, and you're not gonna make me say those words out loud, and I'll never say those words out loud.
I know what that mean is now because I've seen that. I was like, fuck.
I almost read it. God damn. But okay, so this is what you need to understand from Genesis 1. Okay, so Genesis 1 is the first story of creation. When you ask somebody generally, hey, what happened to the story of creation? They say, well, like what you said there, like there's the fucking creating the sun and the stars and the light and the fucking animals and the people and that fucking, but here's the structure. It's a really good visual of like the create and populate space, or the separation and then the filling that we kind of talked about last time, and it's a good visual. So fucking on day one,
filling is always a good visual.
Yeah, absolutely. Fucking so on day one, what does God do? He separates the light from the darkness. Separates that. And often you hear a lot of like debate bro atheist fucks be like, well, the sun and the stars weren't there, fucking how could there be light without the sun and the stars? And it's like, yeah, that's fucking true. You're right. 100%. And if this was literal, like, you're right. You know, like, that's the type of shit you pull out when you're talking to a young earth creationist who's just like, oh, well, science is actually 6 days. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Fucking day one separates the light from the dark, which I think is interesting. And I think it's also very important for those who say, you know, like a day is as 1,000 years or things like that, is that it is very clear that there was evening and there was morning on the first day and the second day. And it says every time there's evening and there's morning on the first day. And, you know, like it was fucking, there was evening and there was morning on the fourth day. There was evening and there was morning on the third day. Like these are days. So I want to make that clear. And the Bible wants to make that clear too.
Obviously, people who don't understand, just read, please.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's pretty clear. But then yeah, so he separates the light from the dark, and then he separates the water from the sky. The water's above and the water's below. And then the fucking water, or separates the fucking water from the land, like fucking gets that shit going, and like the vegetation, the land's growing, like the trees are coming. And then fucking he starts to fill the areas, the sun, the moon, the stars, the fish, the birds, and then the animals, and then the humans. In the first story, male and female, he created them. And that's important because, and I know we touched on it a little bit last time, This is basically just a recap of what we talked about last time. But fucking was that there's a school of thought that maybe the fucking male and female like were attached together at one point and were just like one half man, half woman fucking person. And then were later separated.
Like attached, to or like
each other's
part of the same
side.
body.
Attached at the side.
So like tit on this side, not on this side. Like, or was it like two whole bodies, or did they share one central leg and those three legs?
You see like Stuck on You? Have you seen that movie? Do you remember that movie?
I think I know what you're talking about.
I'm sure it hasn't aged well. I haven't seen it since like 2003. It was one with the fucking dudes who are attached to each other like at the hip. Kind of like that is what I would assume. Because the reason is that male and female, he created them. It is like they could say like they were created at the same time together. And then when Eve is made from Adam's rib is a mistranslation of the word side. And it was separated from his side. And there's a theory that fucking they were together, and then it was split at that moment, and that she was there the whole time. She just didn't become her own being until the helpmate was found.
Oh, what the fuck? God, that's kind of strange, God, to conceive of. But then again, it's like with that, you also get towards that whole, the Bible. I mean, we know that God in the Bible is non-binary, right? That's true, right? God is neither man nor woman.
I think fucking God is pretty clearly male in many ways. There are times in the Bible where God is referred to as with female pronouns. And this book, God and Anatomy, is super amazing. And they make an argument that a lot of those cases were an attempt to erase God's wife, Asherah. And a lot of the female characteristics and those types of things that were ascribed to him were an attempt to fucking remove her. Like, this book is amazing. Chat, this goes to my chat, this goes to Levelhead's chat. Hit me up on Discord if you need help finding this book. I can help you find the book, okay? That's all I'm going to say. It is an amazing book.
No heists are involved of any kind.
No heists. I'm a huge fan of this book, and I would promote this book all day, every day. If you need help finding accessible versions of this, if you're an ADHD fuck who needs to like fucking listen to something, let me know.
I am an ADHD fuck who needs to listen.
Yeah, honestly,
and I want to put that, because then we could talk about it more.
Yeah, it's a great book. I fucking love this book. It's fucking truly amazing. Yeah, it's really amazing. But
some would say it's better than the Bible.
Even. Yes, some would say better than the Bible. Absolutely.
You're not supposed to say that. I'm not going to say it. But
hey, it's all right. It's all right. We all say things. I'm sure.
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying.
Fucking, we could read the book for Book Orcs, Club Orcs, but it's a thick book. Like, that's dedication. But
can you read it to us? I could read it to you. Yeah, fuck yeah, I could read it to chat.
Yeah,
and then, like, and then we'd have a level-headed audio book version of it, I guess.
Actually, with the glossary and shit.
For anarchist distribution methods, not really, because we wouldn't do anything like that.
It's 423 pages.
I wonder how much it costs.
That's not too gnarly,
not
actually.
that expensive. It'd be cool to like support the author.
This book?
Yeah.
It's called God and Anatomy by Francesca
God and Anatomy.
It's a really great book.
There it is. Oh, hardcover $27, but fucking, I like to get digital books too. I'll read those.
Hey yo, fucking, if you're gonna, fucking digital books. Let me know if you need help finding good priced digital books.
Very good price. Okay. The best prices.
I got access to the best prices. Unbeatable. Ebooks, I got you.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. We'll do it.
Yes. Yo, fucking, Yes. Thank you, Wildcat. Can you
Leona
fucking
said,
make a message in Discord at me about it, Wildcat?
Leona asked, I've read that a lot of Bibles taken from the Book of the Dead in Egypt and also pagan holidays and rituals. Well, I know that like a lot of Christian holidays are definitely from pagan rituals or adapted from other things. I mean, I've heard that the Father, Son, Holy Spirit is like the Holy Trinity is originally represented in Zoroastrianism, which is an older thing from what I understand. So I think there's probably a lot of examples of that depending on how you're examining it.
There's a lot of examples of borrowing and taking from other cultures and other surrounding areas, and like Genesis 1 is a perfect example. If you look at it like through the eyes of like the Enuma Elish, which was a myth nearby, like a Mesopotamian myth, where it's pretty much like the same story, but like just a little bit different. It was taken and adapted and changed so that their god was more triumphant and it was more suited to them and was a little more
also curated, like because it's not like there was a lot of disparate beliefs falling under the same sort of general like Christian whatever, like cults really, right?
Yeah.
And then like
this was like early Judaism, like this part here is super early Judaism, like this is OG shit. And welcome, Morton, great to see ya. Hope you're doing well. But
what up Morton?
Happy
New Year.
But yes, Happy New Year. It's 2024. Look at that. Fucking date change. Fucking we must change now.
Number change.
We're doing it.
Time. Got this.
We're fucking doing it. Fuck, what was I saying? I was thinking about date change and Morton.
You were talking about the early Judaism, like
yeah. So like this story here, and I think this is important to point out before we hop on to the next one. This is very Mesopotamian, very water based, okay? So like once again with like Genesis 1 here, the earth was complete chaos and darkness covered the face of the deep, and the wind of God moved over the face of the waters. It's just like a watery chaos and darkness and sloshing and slooshing and there's a separation of the waters above and the waters below, the separation of the water from the land, and that it's very like liquidy and watery, very Mesopotamian. Whereas the next story we're gonna read, which is the second story of creation, is a lot more likely a story more Hebrew, because it's very agricultural, very dusty, very lack of watery.
Sarah's making demands
and
in the
you
chat.
can see you can see kind of that connection-y there, and it's pretty interesting. It's super cool.
Like anthropologic like view or look. Wouldn't it be like on how the way that they're writing the book is just informed by like the actual environment around them, which obviously impacts their culture and all of that kind of stuff. And then it translates its way into like it finds its way into the stories that they're writing, even in like an abstract way.
Absolutely. And you see it a lot that like what does God do to punish them? Fucking famine, ruining their crops, drying up their lands, fucking making the motherfuckers like womb bearing,
Right.
Like,
but if you were like nomadic group of people, that wouldn't be something that you would be as like if you were more like closer hunter gatherer or some shit like that. I don't know. I guess there wouldn't have been societies as large back then, but they still could have written down their own religious texts and stuff.
Yeah, different groups and stuff had differing views and differing material conditions, which informed their views and how they acted upon or what religions
and what
they had
blamed
or
on God or attributed to God.
Believed. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting. But this whole thing that I want to get across here is that like the separating and the categorization of things is really, really important and frames and informs kind of like the rest of the Torah. It kind of informs and frames the law. Like it's showing that, hey, there are things that we can separate, categorize, and then these are the things that are yays and these are the things that are nays. The separate and categorize. You see it with the laws of like sacrifice, what animals you sacrifice, the fucking even the separation that's very much inherently built into the 6 days of creation. What's missing here? The seventh day. The seventh day is sacred. It is separate. It is like essentially like it's implied, but like nobody really knows like why is it like separate yet, you know? It's like not really explained like the laws of why that day is separate and holy and to be taken differently. Why certain animals are to be separated by what kind of hooves they have and if they chew the cud or not, and like if they should be eaten or not, and what kind of people rules should apply to, and who's considered people and who's considered property, and all these different things. It's a separating and a categorization, and it's important in framing the law to come.
The law to come. Jesus said to do that, and the law will. So that's setting the stage for us too, because that's like pretty much the number one law, right?
To come?
Yeah.
Yes. Jesus said, you know, when they asked him what's the greatest commandment, he said, the greatest commandment is to find your neighbor and come. You can look it up.
Correct.
They ask Jesus what's the greatest commandment, and he says, "Come."
It's so, right there. It's right there. It's right there in the text. Like, what? If you don't believe it, then look it up.
Absolutely.
You know, fucking lean not on your own understanding, but on but lean on
thine neighbors come.
Whatever it is. It doesn't matter. The specific point is come, and that's what Jesus taught us.
Like, and people don't understand. Like they say, you know, like kingdom come. You know, like what do you think kingdom come is? You know, it's the kingdom of come, and like it's just absolutely ridiculous. Yes, come as you are to worship. Absolutely. Yep. You know, come as you are to the kingdom come. And people don't understand. Oh, come all ye faithful. Yeah, chat gets it, you know? Like,
they really do. It's easy.
You know, absolutely. Come to the face of the Lord, you know? It's absolutely fucking amazing. It truly
come together
is
right now over me.
Absolutely. Come all over me. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so let's regroup about where we're at.
Yes, let's stop, collaborate, and listen for a minute here.
Okay. Yes, let's do that. It's important to do that.
Okay. Yes.
That's why it's in song. Like, okay.
It's true. So essentially what we're talking about here is, and what we've kind of covered, just so we're all on the same page, is that the Bible has many books by different authors. Even the stories within the books can have different authors, and those stories can be put in together. And we're about to see story number 2. This is creation story number 1, Genesis 1, the typical one that we know of as the days of creation, the 6 days of creation.
Yeah, this is the one that I would have cited. Different things on different days, and then at the end, Adam's naming the animals or some shit. Like that's
absolutely
sense. What?
Absolutely.
With what words? Where did he get words? What the fuck?
In the beginning was the word.
Oh, right.
We're not reading fucking John 1 on this fucking shit. But the fucking creation itself came from words. Some say that words itself are creation. There is this there's different ideas on like sense. The creation of words, but that is how God created. And God said, "Let there be light."
The power of life, like, the power of life and death is in the tongue, right? Isn't something like that? Isn't there scripture like that?
Yeah, that's some New Testament shit, I believe. But yes,
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, like the Spirit of God or the breath of God is often in translation is what's moving over the face of the waters. The breath of life, you know, like life comes and goes through your breath. That is when you are alive. Is when, in Jewish tradition, is that fucking when the breath of life has come into you.
Which is why abortion is not murder.
Absolutely.
In that framework.
And you could even say that essentially that words are magical breath.
Yeah.
You know, it's essentially expelling words that can do and create, especially when in the mouth of God.
In the mouth of God.
Yeah, and God spoke. You know, God has a mouth. It implies that He's saying. He is a vocal cords
What
of
that
some
mouth
sort. He
do?
is what that mouth do. Well, it creates and separates at least. You know,
That's
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the main thing
That's important right there to understand. Chat. Write that down.
Absolutely, write it down. Fucking
Or
what
memorize
that
it.
mouth do. Just write down what God mouth do. Okay, that's what we
Yeah.
need you to
Ponder that.
understand.
You know what I mean? Come back to the next service having, like with your own sort of like feeling about that. And then we can, we'll have a real strong foundation
Write it.
to
Good.
work from.
Cool. So then, yeah, the other thing I just want you to understand is fucking the inherent separation and then the filling, and it's actually quite a cool fucking way that the story is constructed, and it's inherently a poetic fucking structural story in how it is. It was never meant to be literal. It's it is important that that's there. It's important that you understand that there is evening and there is morning on each of the days. They are days, and there's an inherent separation between the days, especially the seventh day, which is for rest. Last thing is that fucking um animals were created before humans in this story, and it is very water based, very wet. It's a wet story. Here's a question. Did God create all of the humans or just Adam and Eve on this day? Yep. My stream can hear you too. Can you hear me, Jen, baby? You sound
Okay.
wonderful.
Cool. I can hear you perfectly. You sound fantastic.
Oh my god, dude. That's fucking sick. For real.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm just like hear each other. Yo, do you ever like fucking like I know it's fucking dumb, but do you ever like think about like how like fucking much like sicker like shit is now than like it would have been like technology wise like back in the day? The fact that we can just like do this is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
we kind of touched on that today when I was talking, or yesterday, whatever the fuck time it is. We kind of touched on that when I was talking to Paradigm and Globus. How like cool it is that we can even do this at all. I mean, like I started in FM radio broadcasting, and like we were doing like it was college radio, and we didn't really have a lot of stakes or anything. Like we were doing a lot of the same types of things, like just bullshitting and like talking about whatever and having fun. But this being able to do it with anyone, anywhere, like they have their own setup, you have yours. Yeah, because we were talking also about collaborations, future collaborations, and like we talked about that last time too. And this is us continuing that. So for high fives to us.
Oh yeah,
bam, we're doing it. We're continuing the collaborative process, and we're being tested. We're being tested.
Yes, we're being testies.
Fucking usual.
But even just like being able to have like a spreadsheet is like fucking crazy, dog.
Honestly,
that's just like goddamn mind blowing. Is like a spreadsheet.
AI that shit. Have you fucked around with AI at all?
I've fucked around with AI like ChatGPT. Like ChatGPT helps me with like formulas and shit. But like, you mean like you can make a whole spreadsheet just with AI?
Oh yeah, I'm guaranteed. Well, you could make a CSV. So if you could do that, then you could definitely make a spreadsheet. Yeah. Yeah, fucking A. I mean, spreadsheet AI. I mean, there's probably AI or there's probably spreadsheet programs that have AI integrated at this point. But
yeah,
or ways to do it.
Well, like they now have like in like PowerPoint and shit, like designer mode, where you just like click designer mode and it like makes your slide look good. You just put like your info in and then it just designs it. It's really cool. Makes it look real nice, and it can keep like a consistent design theme throughout the whole thing. Like it's real nice.
Fuck yeah, dude! I love consistency. I love consistency in design.
Consistency is key.
True. That's undeniable too.
Yep. fucking Mark chapter 4:20.
I don't know if we crossed our like blaspheme ratio or what that
Oh
caused God
fuck,
to,
fuck
blaspheme,
no.
yeah. But
I think like while handling the scriptures, we've been respectful. But outside of that, we've been having fun, and I think fucking the good Lord, if He is in existence, would respect that, and He would say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," and I would say, "I saw, dude."
At the very least, the whippersnapper Jesus would be in chat popping off, and he'd be like, telling God about it, and God would be like, "That's great, son," that type of shit.
Yep.
God would be like, "Cool, we can do your Twitch thing over there. I got bigger things to deal with, like staring at this famine. I'm gonna keep staring at
it." Absolutely.
Okay. All right, where were we?
Oh my god, that's an instruction. Okay, last thing I want to say. So here's the super quick recap before I move on. These are the main things that I want to say. Fucking, it was watery fucking chaos. Man or humans were created last after animal, but man and women were created simultaneously. And that fucking humans were to roam the entire earth. Like they were supposed to spread and go forth and multiply, be fruitful. Go fuck around and go spread and be happy all over the earth with all the animals.
Spread it.
That was it for the first story. Now, as Genesis 2.
Also made a thing so that if I go away on camera, I'm still here. Just going off camera for a second. You can see that, right? I don't have my camera on for you. Never mind.
I can't see your camera. No, I thought it was just like an issue with your fucking.
No. Here, I just have to turn it back on because it broke. Oh, now that flips. Oh my fucking god, Discord! Why are you like this? I hate how Discord doesn't let you move people around. Like, I just need to get a plug-in or whatever that fixes it. But okay, all right, okay. It's not just me talking to myself this time. Okay, I'm trying to get away from that. I'm trying to prove that I talk to other people.
Yeah, there you go. You do. It's great.
Okay.
We're all talking.
All right, but yeah, like this. Boop.
Perfect. You ready?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Fucking disappears then when I hover over it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Genesis.
I'll be back on cam 1 sec, but keep going.
Yeah, all good. Yeah. So the first story ends at Genesis 2. I think this is interesting. So it essentially says God stopped doing shit on the seventh day. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it because God rested from all the work He had done in creation. Ends. And then you get this verse here, which is kind of like a conjunction verse. It kind of connects the two stories. Fucking, this is for Genesis 2:4a. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created. Period. Continuing in 2:4b. In that day, the Lord God made the heavens and the earth, when no plant of the field was yet in the earth, and no vegetation in this field had sprung up. So this is a connection between, okay, here's the first story, the 7 days of creation, God ends, rests, has a good time. And yeah, that's the story when God did the creation, and then it automatically goes into the next one here. It's kind of an interesting kind of conjunction and how they make it seem like it's one story. When really it's two stories, which were later, edited and added together to be a more
cohesive
narrative.
That serves more of a functioning role. And those, like, again, there's multiple more examples again of like the minor differences and the implications that they have, like just women and men being created at the same time versus woman created from the man's side, because that shit is huge. Like that's a huge considering how large a role patriarchy plays in Christianity, like fundamentalism in particular. That's big.
Absolutely.
And the differences between like fundamentalist or like more heavily patriarchal Christian doctrines versus, I guess, ones that are less. I don't really know. I feel like it's pretty prominent in a lot of Christian circles, although I do know that like in the church I grew up in, like my mom got behind the pulpit. Like she did the whatever they called it, teaching,
not preaching
versus preaching. But at the end of the day, like there were plenty of churches where like women don't get behind the pulpit. That I know.
Oh well, they just cite Timothy 2:12. A woman is to have no authority over a man; she is to remain silent. For it was Eve who fell into the temptation of Satan, and shall be cursed with the pain of childbearing.
Fucking
Like it
Timothy,
ties back.
incel,
Yeah, absolutely. Incel Tim. Absolutely. Fucking like that ties back to
Tim.
this story that we're talking about. And this story here is like the first depiction of open patriarchy in the Bible comes from this story here in Genesis 2. This is where it comes. I think it's actually Genesis 3 where that happens. But yeah. So
I mean like if it's actually sort of directly depicted in Genesis 3, like the groundwork is laid with that, like, you know, look what's first, look what comes first.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And you'll see it. So once again, remembering the fucking first story, which is a real wet chaos and like it just had to separate all the waters, it was everywhere. Fucking now contrast it with when no plant on the field and no vegetation had sprung up, the Lord God had not yet caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no one to till the ground. But a stream would rise from the earth and water the whole face of the ground. Then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground. This is very dry and dusty, and it's not the watery chaos that we had before. And that's like a contrasting there, like you're talking about before. This is more fucking ancient Israelite fucking stories versus Mesopotamian, more water chaos dragon shit, you know?
Yeah.
Well, like no joke, like fucking we didn't get super into it. I thought we kind of touched on it more when we talked about it last time, like the fucking like Tahom and like the fucking like chaos, like not chaos, like the water monster fucking like Leviathan and shit, like fucking are like present in the story. And we didn't really talk too much about the Enuma Elish, touched on it a little bit. But like, yeah, it's about
and like but like that's not normally taught by most Christians now, right? Or the whole Leviathan.
No. Well,
like again, what the cool
Leviathan,
shit. Oh, look, cool shit. Hey, let's take that out of the Bible. Look, this will keep them interested. But whatever, like they must have fucking deliberated probably. Like, well, it may be awesome. We might love dragons. But
well, it was like a lot of it was it harkened too closely to the other religions of the area,
right?
And you see, like with the separation and classification, it's super important to the overall story, and it may seem kind of silly, like bringing it up so often, but like you see it when in the Exodus, when like they're given the laws and like how to separate themselves from those around them. And when they leave Egypt and they're going into the land of Canaan, there needs to be that separation. The generation needs to die out that was there so that they could then be not tainted by Egypt, and they could separate themselves fully from that. And, like that separation, and then they could then fill the land of Canaan. That separate and fill, it may seem silly, but it's a common narrative thread. An understanding of the law. It's interesting.
Okay. All right, continue. Or
is
that it?
No, never it. Yeah, and that's the end of the stream. Thank you guys. Okay.
Bye.
But then but a stream would rise from the earth and water the face of the ground. Then the Lord God formed a man out of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So, This here is like a very different fucking like story. You know, this is a more physical god. This god fucking breathes and forms. You can almost like see it as him like making a golem. It's like the first golem spell. You know, like he's making this little clay creature.
Yep.
And then he's like, okay, fucking breathes into it.
It's
He's
a
like,
flesh
oh, this
golem.
is
Yeah.
absolutely. He's like, this is fucking funny. How this is a cool little toy. Let me make a little garden for him and put him in there like a fucking little ant garden, where he is to stay. He is to stay in that garden. That was the initial plan. Was for him to stay in that garden. Very different from the God creating male and female. He created them. Who is them? Is it just Adam and Eve, or is it all human beings?
Right.
Fucking, I would argue that it's all human beings, because he didn't just create 2 birds. He didn't just create 2 fish. He didn't just create 2 antelope. He would have created all the antelope, all the fish, all the birds.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, it's like, but we started with 2, which is also fucking weird, just because then it's like, okay, so then they fucked, and then their kids fucked. And
well, there's lots to that. So
there's a lot to that.
Like, there's so, and I talked to fucking Shakespeare.
I'm just looking at it surface level, but yeah.
But like, I agree. Like, at the end of the day, it always has come back to, if you believe Adam and Eve were the first 2 and there were no others. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many hundreds of years there were between. Like, it initially had to start with incest. Like, it just had to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's no way around that, regardless of how old they are, difference-wise.
That's what you believe if you believe that. Like, obviously, if you're saying there's, you know, you can look at it as, and even you would look at the translation as, like, all of humanity. That makes more sense, too. And again, it also makes more sense when you compare to the animals. Like, duh. Why did he make? Yeah, did he make 2 fucking animals? No, because that wouldn't work. It just doesn't make any sense. So he made two of every animal, and then humans. He's like, all right, just you 2 are gonna.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why?
Absolutely. And so, I think that I like that version better. And some people try to harmonize these 2 stories by saying the first story is overall, that's all humanity, and this story is just a zoom in on this one place. The
right. Well, I was kind of thinking that too, like, because later on, whatever it is, like, not Exodus, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, which is the one where Exodus is probably the one that includes, or late Genesis includes the, like, genealogy, right?
Quite a few of them have genealogies, but yes, Genesis has genealogies.
Isn't the point of that, in a lot of ways, to, like, lead to a certain person in the story? Like, the reason, like, they do a genealogy to get to, like, now we're at this
essentially
figure.
Yeah, and there's lots of reasons they do it. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend to know. I know, like, all the reasons why all the genealogies and shit are in there, and I do tend to fucking skip through them. But, like, there are lots of things you can learn from those genealogies and shit. I pretty much just, like, take what the people being, like, the Bible scholars that I've, like, read and shit say about what to learn. They learn from that and skip the fucking genealogies for the most part.
Yeah, why would you need to know that?
But it is interesting because, like, often, like, it says, like, how long people lived for, and that's super fun and interesting.
Yeah, Methuselah lived to be 500 and how many?
969.
969?
Yeah.
Damn, Methuselah. All right.
969. I remember it because I was 69, and then Moses. No, not Moses. Noah was like 950. You know.
Fucking, you know it.
Yeah, fucking. Well, he was 600 when he built the ark. Like 601 when he got off the ark.
Yeah. So what's your excuse? Chat?
Absolutely.
Look to Noah.
Yeah, look to Noah. Fucking grow up. Fucking. So then, so he makes this little golem boy, and he puts him in this garden.
Golem, by the way, spelled for those I don't know if that's like fantasy nerd shit or what. I know it from D&D. Golem, like, which is like a construct of non-sentient material into, like you said, a clay boy
like
that you
old,
make, or like
super old, Jewish magic kind of like idea of like a clay being that was like, you know, brought to life.
Okay.
But yeah,
animated, brought to life.
Yeah.
Or dude, this. Okay, I'm sorry, not to digress too much, but is it Toy Story 3 or 4 where they make the fucking spork toy?
I would assume it's 3 because I've not seen 3.
Okay, because that shit is fucking creepy, but that's like seems like a golem to me. I'm sorry. Like, that whole movie is creepy because of that shit. Anyways.
I haven't seen it. Maybe I need to watch it.
Like, the little girl in the beginning, like, makes a spork and, like, it's in kindergarten class or whatever, and, like, puts, like, you know, arms and legs on it. It's like a little craft, right?
Yeah.
And then, like, brings it home to the toys, and it's alive, but it's, like, stupid as shit. Like, it can't do anything. Like, I don't know. It just keeps getting in bad situations. It's weird. I'm sorry. It's weird. Anyway.
Shit. I'll check it out. But then he fucking puts him in.
I don't know if I'm the only one with that perspective. Sorry. Anyways.
That's fine. Fucking I don't know. I need to check it out before I can call
You'll have to weigh in. You'll have to let me know next time. Like, you know what I watched, and I think that you're fucking wrong, Levelhead. I think that you need to change.
I actually really love the Spork. Sporky's my favorite. Yeah. Fucking so then fucking puts him in this garden, and then out of the ground God made every tree grow that is pleasant in the sight and is good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Something that I want to make very, very clear here, because I hear it said a lot, and I want to do my best to help combat misinformation. It is not a fucking. It is not an apple. It is not a pomegranate. It's a knowledge fruit. It's not an apple, okay? Nowhere does it say that it's an apple. If an apple tree grows apples, a knowledge tree grows knowledge fruit.
Bullshit.
It was a knowledge fruit.
No, it's an apple. That's what I learned on.
And goddamn apple.
Trying to trick me again?
There. Goddamn serpent boy. I saw your eyes flicker when I walked sheer stream. I knew you were a reptilian. Yeah, reptoid space alien lover. I knew it.
True. Goddamn. That's right. Get him, Jerry.
Goddamn.
I think Jerry should be the pastor.
No, man. Tell you what. Goddamn. But yeah, so I think this is interesting. So the fucking tree of life in the midst of the garden and the tree of knowledge. Fucking, we get down to 15. It just talks about like the rivers and shit. I don't care. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to till and keep it. So he was supposed to just be like the fucking gardener, hang out and stay in that garden. That was his goal. He wasn't supposed to leave. He was supposed to hang out and just till the garden and just be a happy boy. And the Lord God commanded the man, you may eat freely of every tree in the garden, but the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in that day that you eat of it, you shall die. That comes up later, and we'll talk about that a bit. How much time do we have?
Like
20
minutes?
15 minutes? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Fucking, I think it's interesting, and I think it's worth it to think. So he can eat the fucking tree, the life tree, the tree of life, which gives you, like, infinite life, like immortality. Fucking, but it's something that you'd have to continually eat from, it seems. Like, it seems implied that it's not a one-time you eat from it, you're immortal forever. Because he's not immortal forever, right?
Sounds
and
shitty.
we would assume that he's eaten from
I
it,
guess
right?
It's better than not having the tree.
Absolutely. But what would happen, because it's often said that fucking death was brought into the world because of this situation.
Right.
What would happen if he just stopped eating? Would he die?
I mean, you know, that really depends on... I don't fucking know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. And that's like a lot of the time what I come to is like, there, you know, like Jesus told me to do. Like I come to the conclusion that what the fuck is this talking about? It's just like people were writing shit down. And how many of them were like, bro, we look back like not even that long ago, and there's zero acknowledgement of like mental illness playing a role in people's decision making or what kind of things they were doing. Go back that far.
Well, you look at like Daniel, you look at fucking Revelation, you look at any of these like prophetic books, like it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it's like what are we fucking really who are we listening to that like even Christians today, if they had somebody acting in that way and saying those types of things with that type of like authoritative, attitude and things that were conflicting or just so convoluted, didn't make sense, you'd be like, okay, bro, like I don't know, like go to rehab or something, or maybe like you need a mental hospital. I don't know. They just wouldn't give them the time of day, but like because they're so old, we can just detach ourselves from it. I don't
Well, these
know.
dudes are like 600 years old, so yeah, they're pretty fucking old, you know?
Yeah, bro. They were old. They didn't have mental illness back then before
Almost.
GMOs.
Absolutely. They just had Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking. But fucking like these, yeah, and like those are kind of the issues that you run into if and only if you take these as like literal stories. Like which they are not. These are clearly literary fucking tellings of explaining why things are the way they are. Why are we here? Why does it hurt to give birth? Why does
are
fucking it
cancer
suck to
cells
live?
inside children's bodies?
Absolutely.
God, could you just, hey, let's make a deal. Let's change that one thing. Then we'll talk.
Absolutely.
Or we could just talk in the first place, because you won't do that either. So hashtag daddy issues.
God. Hashtag daddy issues. Fucking God has left us, and it is clear.
Fucking yeah.
But we'll fucking rip through this quick here. Fucking then the Lord God fucking saw that Jesus, the fucking Adam was super sad, and was like, "Hey yo, you shouldn't be alone. I will make him a helper as his partner." A helpmate is like a better like translation from what I've read, and it's essentially like somebody to like be a companion, and to like work with and to be with. So then the Lord God formed every animal of the field and every bird and brought them to the man to see what he would call them, and see what its name. He gave them all the names of all the animals, but for man there was not found a helper that was his partner. So he's like, oh shit, fucking like, hey yo, I can't fuck any of these animals, I can't hang out with any of these animals, like, this is whack. And so God's like, hey yo, I'm gonna fucking take the fucking, and the rib that the Lord, okay, sorry. He found no helper, so he said, let me put this dude in a deep sleep, and the sleep fell upon the man, and he slept. Then he took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh, and the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man, and said, at last, this is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for out of man she was taken. Fucking, this here fucking is, yeah, automatic, like, subordinates in the way that it's fucking rewritten. But, like, there is discussion around it originally being side and things like that. When looked at upon from the, first story, which I don't think you necessarily should, because they are different stories telling different things that were added later. But I think it's important to see that fucking made Adam, then animals, then Eve. Therefore, man leaves his father and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh. And they are naked and weren't ashamed. The first sin and punishment here. Fucking, maybe we should leave this till the next one, because you don't have much time.
I would say so. Yeah, I could use a little time to regroup. Sarah said I need coffee, and I'm like, yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's too much.
Well, like I'm glad that we were able to cover again. Like we got towards some of these same things. We were sort of reiterating from last time. It would be cool to like, get the discussion from last time, this time, and like, maybe make a thing that kind of flows between like an editing or something. I don't know. It's something that would be interesting to do. But I think what we should try and do, like maybe tomorrow, we should set a plan to plan, because right now we're in the middle of this shit. But like we should say like tomorrow, let's talk. Like maybe let's like VC this time, whatever, and like try and schedule the next time. So that way, like we'll get it set up. We won't just let it like lull or whatever. Because I want to do it regularly for sure. Who doesn't want to do it regularly? We're following Jesus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Well, some people don't want to do it regularly, and that's fine for them. But like I do. Yeah. Wait, what?
Jesus didn't want to do it regularly.
Oh.
Or Paul.
Paul didn't.
Paul didn't do it regularly. Fucking Paul, OG fucking Volcel. I think fucking Paul could have fucking got it, but fucking he didn't. So. But yeah.
Well.
But yeah, that was a lot of info. A lot of it was a recap. Honor, my dude. Fucking thanks for having me on. Fucking it's great speaking with you again, as always.
Yeah. Let me know if you need anything, need to talk, fucking, or yeah, you want to plan some other shit, some other content. I'm down.
Word. All right, yo. Peace. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
LEVLHEAD.
I am LEVLHEAD.